Yo, welcome back to Urban Street 420. I'm your host, 40. So today we're doing gummies for dummies. What? I'm not poking fun at anyone, but this is basically a foolproof method that you need to get down before you start infusing your gummies. In fact, we're not going to infuse them today. Why? Because I think that if you're going to make gummies, you should do a practice run like this before you go ahead and use any material, right? That way you get it down so you don't make any mistakes, right? Come on over here, let's get started, baby. All right, so we're closer. You only need a few things for this, really. I'm going to use this Pyrex measuring cup because what we're going to do is later submerge it in here for like a double boiler situation. The first thing we want to do is take a juice, right? It should be from the refrigerator, so it's a bit cold, right? I'm going to use orange juice. You do not have to use orange juice. You could use a different type of juice if you want. But keep in mind that whatever juice you use, and again, I'm using 1/3 a cup, right? Keep in mind, whatever juice you use should match or be a good flavor combination. We're going to go with a strawberry-based flavored gelatin, and therefore, orange and strawberry, it sounds good to me, right? So next, we are going to take, this is 10 grams of unflavored gelatin, right? You don't need to use the brands I'm using here. In fact, you probably don't have access to them because Royal is a brand over here, right? Probably you would use Knox gelatin in the US, etc., but you want unflavored gelatin. Again, 10 grams. We're going to dump this in our juice. We're going to take a fork, and we're going to mix this up until it dissolves, right? And when we look inside, what we're looking for is no clumps, right? And obviously, the more we mix this, we're going to introduce some air, and that's going to give us some bubbles on top, and that's fine, right? So you see, it's becoming incorporated. Hopefully you can see, right? So that looks pretty good. After that's done, we're going to take one flavored gelatin pack. Now, mind you, you could do this with different ratios. Like if we wanted to double this batch, we could. We would just double everything, right? So, but the recipe that I'm using uses one packet, right? And I'm using this brand called Royal, but if you're using Jello or whatever flavor gelatin, it's fine because most of them are 85 grams, right? Which is what this is. 85 grams, we're gonna dump this in there. And after we do that, we're gonna go ahead and mix this up. All right, it's changed the color a little bit. Now, there's a lot of things to know, right? If you're infusing, and I'm going to make another video after this one. It will be part 2 to this one, to take your gummies to the next level. But the one thing that I'll add, we won't talk about infusing in this video, but the one thing I'll add is if you want to make these shelf stable, you can add a mold inhibitor, right? Like Loran Oils makes a mold inhibitor, but also you can use potassium sorbate, which is what this is, at a 3-to-1 ratio of water, 3 parts to 1 part potassium sorbate. So whatever you put, like if you put 30 grams of water, put 10 grams of potassium sorbate. Make sure it mixes up, it all dissolves. And then what we're going to want to add to this is 1/8 of a tablespoon, right? Which is going to be very, very little. You do not want to add too much of this. That could be really bad. Just a little bit. So I'm going to reach in here, and we're just going to pick up, you see, just like that much. Maybe a little bit more. There we go. We're going to mix that in, and that should make it so that we're good to go. Because if we put these in the fridge, right, after we make them, they're going to be good for maybe up to 2 weeks, right? Maybe. And then mold will start to form and so forth, and then you're going to want to throw them away. Could you eat gummies that have mold on them? You might be able to, huh? But they're not going to taste very nice, probably going to give you an upset stomach. It's very rare that you'll get very sick with a little bit of mold. But again, I'm not a doctor, number 1, but number 2, don't mess with mold. It could make you sick, so you want to avoid that. And by adding potassium sorbate or a mold inhibitor, what you're doing is making it so it's harder for mold to grow on them, right? So when this is done, we've got it mixed, whatever, we're going to leave this for 10 minutes. We will be back. All right, so it's been 10 minutes. This has been sitting here looking good, right? I turned on the burner maybe 2 minutes ago. It's not boiling yet. We don't necessarily need it to boil. What we want to do is we want to put this inside of here, and because this is a Pyrex glass, it can handle this, right? If you're not using Pyrex glass, be careful. Now, as far as leaving the fork in here, we're probably going to take it out, but right now, because it's not that hot, I'm going to leave it in because I want to keep stirring, right? You'll notice I brought 2 sets of molds over here. Probably I don't think it's going to fill all of it, but anyways, we'll see. Another good thing about doing a practice run without infusing is you'll find out exactly how many gummies you're going to make based on the proportions that you set. Again, we did 85 grams, 10 grams, and a third cup. If we double that to 170, 20 grams, and 2/3 a cup, etc. We need to know exactly how many gummies we're gonna make, right? So the reason I have a cutting board underneath this is to make it easier for me to put it in the fridge after I pour it in. And what we're going to do, once this comes up a little bit higher in temperature, is we're going to just keep stirring this for like 6 to 8 minutes until this becomes a really nice uniform liquid. Because right now, you can see the granules of gelatin, etc. It's not, there's a fly. What is a fly doing in here? It wants gummies, baby. Anyways, yeah. What we want to do is make this a really nice homogenized liquid, and that's why we have it in here, right? The reason I have a towel here is so that when I pick this up, I can wipe the bottom and then I'm not dripping water into the molds because we don't want to mix water with this mixture, right? I'll stop talking. We'll come back when this is ready. I'm going to speed this up in post, but again, you're going to stir 6 to 8 minutes, and yeah. All right, it's been 8 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and turn the burner off. I'm going to take our towel right here so we can wipe the bottom, right? And this is now much more homogenized and much more liquid, right? So I never ended up taking the fork out. In fact, this glass isn't that hot, but you definitely don't want to hold it just for too long with your bare hand. So moving it around is fine, but like to hold this, oof, you could burn yourself. So be careful. So that's pretty good. We're going to take the fork out, right? Put it in the sink, and I'm just going to start pouring into the molds. The reason I brought this is in case I start to spill. And I've got these little turd emojis and regular emoji gummy molds. Actually, I have lots of gummy molds, but I decided we're going to use these. And if it's not perfect and you get a little bit out, like outside of the thing, it's fine, especially because these are not going to be for sale. These are just for myself. All right, so there's all the gummies that we filled. You'll notice that there are some bubbles here on the top. That's the air that's in the mixture. If you take that off, it will have a nice gloss finish. This is on the back of the gummies, and again, these aren't for sale, so I'm not worried about it. We're gonna put these in the fridge for maybe up to an hour. Some of them are definitely overfilled on this side. It's my patience level just wasn't there. So I'll put them in the fridge, we'll take them out, I'll show you guys what they look like in about an hour. All right, so it's been an hour, they've been in the fridge, I popped one out, and check it out, right? You can't see from there. I'm gonna take a better view. Let me pop them all out of the molds, show you what they look like, and we're gonna give one a try now. Tastes great. Anyways, let me pop them out, baby. All right, so I've popped them out of the mold. They're on the plate. I took a picture for the thumbnail, and these things are amazing. The texture, look at this. Look how squishy they are, just like the perfect squish. The flavor is amazing. I mean, if you bought these in a pack of gummies, you would think, wait, I hit the jackpot. The taste, the texture, everything is on point. So, in this video, I showed you how to make gummies without being infused. And I think it's important to get this down. Also, number one, you get a count in the gummies. So right here, I'm gonna count later, I'll put it on the top. I ate 2, so whatever this is, plus 2 is here. Anyway, this way, we know when we're making it infused, we can then say, it made this many gummies, we're gonna divide it by this, that will tell us our potency, etc. In the next video, we're going to make these infused. We're gonna make this a 3-part series. This first one is to get you good at making gummies. The second part will be about infusing. We'll talk about the different infusing options. You can use tincture, you could use canna butter, you could use canna oil, you could use FICO, you could use RSL. What? You can use distillate, whatever you want to use. I'll explain the pros and cons of each of the different things that you can use to infuse. And in part 3, we'll get into starting to stylize our gummies by using other ingredients to change the texture to make them even better. Guys, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. You know the deal, baby. Woo! Till next time,